guys, welcome back to the channel, man. Today we are finally going to get cracking on Khaki, on getting this thing hopefully running. So starting off, I need to get all of this old stuff out of here that I can, like anything that we just aren't using right now, like a lot of these little strangling wires and stuff that's just hanging here. All that's going to come out, and we're going to be putting new stuff in. Well, by new stuff, we're just going to be simplifying this quite a bit, because I do have a fuse box and a switch panel that we're going to be installing. So that alone is going to eliminate a lot of the stuff that's going on. That little distribution block, well, I was using that as a distribution block. It's actually just a fused pass-through, like for an amplifier, like a stereo system. That thing's going to come out, and we need to get this factory fuse box mounted up in here somehow a little bit better than what it is. And dude, I wish I could just delete all this crap and just run a whole new fuse box for that. But anyhow, our new fuse box is going to be powering our electric fans in the front, the fuel pump, which is also in the front, nitrous. I think I'm going to run the nitrous through that fuse box also. I don't know. We have 6 outputs on that thing, and I know for sure of 2 or 3 that we're going to be using. Another thing that I'd really like to do, I don't know if I'm going to get to it in this video, but I want to delete this. If you guys know what that is, ha ha ha. Anyhow, if you don't know what it is, that is a clutch slipper. So whenever you engage that, it restricts the fluid from retracting from the clutch. And the little knob right there on the top, that is actually to adjust how fast or slow it restricts it. So basically you push the clutch in, and that's what the button that was on my steering wheel right there was for. You push the clutch in, and then you hold that button that used to be there. That supplied power to this. Whenever that button was pressed, that would not allow the fluid to just flow back freely. It actually restricted it and made it flow back slowly. That was for getting consistent launches, and instead of just like dumping the clutch, and especially on prep, which I learned in Khaki really quick because I snapped both my axles, you're supposed to kind of feather it out really slow. The clutch pedal that's on this is the pressure plate is from Competition Clutch, and it's the one with the extra clamping power. That thing is so ridiculously difficult to let out slowly. So I ended up getting that clutch slipper to help me with that, you know, and to be a little bit more consistent. Anyhow, that thing never really worked very well. I think that Competition Clutch's pressure plate is actually too strong for that thing even. I'm gonna take all that out. I gotta run a solid line from my Hush Performance cable to hydro conversion over there. I got to run a solid line from that all the way to the transmission and ditch this. Probably not going to do that today because I got to go get a line made. I can't find the old one I used to have on here. But yeah, dude, that's what I'm going to start off with, is just taking as much of this stuff out as I can, and then we need to move on to putting new stuff in. So on the other side of this, oh, that's zip tied on there. All right. I thought this thing was bolted on there. It's been so long. I completely forgot. But it's just zip tied on there. I have zip ties going behind this aluminum plate right here. That aluminum plate, I don't know if the camera can see it right now, but there's 2 nuts right there. On the other side is the bolts that are going through my catch can. I need to put some rib nuts right there. Whenever I did that, I didn't have a rib nut gun at that time. So that would be a much needed improvement, because that catch can's a pain in the ass to take off if you ever need to. That is, oh, that's the Nomis coil on plug harness that plugs into the ECU. Woo! Don't cut that. Good Lord, that was close. What is this? Dude, see, a lot of this stuff, I don't remember what it freaking was, bro. What the hell is this? And this. Oh, you know what? This might be for the ghost box. Maybe. Ghost box harnesses right here. All these damn speaker wires and shit. No? Oh. You know what that is? That is the power wire, I believe, that runs over to my wideband sensor. I don't know. There's so many I don't knows, man. This can go bye-bye. Goodbye. Bringing my best friends into the mix, zip and tie. One thing about khaki, bro, is it's not easy to work inside of here at all. Everything is painful. Goodbye. See you later. All right, so what I'm doing is getting rid of all the stuff I don't need, obviously, like I said. And then I'm also trying to kind of clean up the stuff that I can't really do anything about, right? So the factory harness that's running through here, and then my rye wire harness hooks to that, and it swoops down and it connects to the engine harness. Dude, what I hate about this is where the ECU plugs in, right? And then this is where that thing plugs in. Like, this could have been all the way down here somewhere on the harness to where you didn't have to plug this all the way in to where the damn ECU plugs in, because when you do that, you create this loop right here that you can't do anything with, you know, which is just ridiculous. Anyhow, I gotta work my way around that. That's mostly just an OCD thing and trying to get it to look nice, you know. This whole catastrophe going on over here, that was like a quick thing where I hooked up that ghost box in here, in which I got speaker wires running over here, which also doesn't look the greatest. You know, it's one of those things, bro, where I really just want to tear absolutely everything out, but I'm not prepared for that. Like, even the factory harness and that damn factory fuse box, like I just want to get rid of that, you know. I'm just not in a position right now where I want to tear all the wiring out and completely rebuild a cabin harness and all that, because that's what it would require. I would need to basically get a digital dash, and I would have to redo all my taillight wiring and all that stuff. But I'm gonna get through it because I know if I get all this stuff at least strapped up out of the way, whenever I put my dash back on, you don't see any of it, and it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind, you know. But I do want it to be nice, so even with the dash off, I want it to look acceptable. And this fuse box, I don't know why I never did this before, but this thing naturally just kind of sits right there. There's a hole on that side, and there's one down here for mounting. I'm gonna go ahead and blow some damn holes through there. Yeah, I'm just gonna through bolt that thing right there. I mean, it's gonna come out into the wheel well, the holes on the other side, but I'm really not worried about it, bro. It's not gonna be a huge deal. I'm just gonna have the head of a bolt right here. So I have these really long bolts, so I need to get kind of an idea how long they need to be, because a good portion of that is gonna need to be cut off of there. Oh shit, that was the wrong hole. Yeah, I guess there was already a hole there. I don't know about. All right, so I'm using nylon locking nuts. This is gonna be the fun part, is I gotta put a nut on first to basically turn these into studs. I wanna tighten this against the body and just hold these bolts where they're just sticking out, but I gotta hold both sides, so hopefully I'll be able to reach. If not, I gotta go get baby out of the house. Yeah, it's really hard to reach. Of course my damn wrench fell. Yay, there's one. Now the further one. If this mirror wasn't here, it wouldn't be so bad. I'll be back. I need you to hold that bolt. Yeah. That's it. Alright, now I can bolt this thing on here. Nice. And nice. And then I'm gonna put a couple washers on there so it has a nice flat backer. Bang, bang. And then I'll put a washer in the front and a locking nut. Ooh, Damn! Alright, so I have never had this fuse box mounted properly like this. This thing has always just been zip tied up in here, you know? So that's actually really nice. Still open the lid and it's solid. Don't have to worry about it moving around. Hell yeah. Alright, so ran down to the Ace Hardware and grabbed a few things that I needed. I don't really have any like this smaller shrink wrap. I grabbed a little pack of that. And some more of these ring terminals because I have a feeling I might not have enough. And then I grabbed some of these for 10 gauge wire. I'm going to be running 10 gauge on the fuel pump and the fans, and I'm still waiting on the 10 gauge wire to get here from Amazon. It should be delivered soon. I also had to grab some more nuts for this guy right here. So I got this from a junkyard a long time ago, and I got this for Khaki, for exactly what it is we're doing right here, because it's just a distribution block. That's all it is. I forget now what kind of vehicle it was that I got this off of. I think it was a Jeep or something, but this was an OEM piece, bro, like a factory little distribution block. And I saw that and I was like, dude, I need to grab that, because whenever you buy something like this aftermarket, not only are they usually pretty expensive if it's a good one, if you do get one that is a little cheaper, they are exactly that. They're just cheap. And if you guys could feel this thing in person, this thing is heavy, dude. And it's got these big ass lugs on there for, you know, just distribution of power. Anyhow, I only had the 3 nuts for it, so I went and grabbed 5 all new nuts so that we can use this for our distribution block. So where I was using this ghetto ass thing, this amp fuse, you can see all the wires coming off of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires coming off of it. This thing was just, it not only did it not look good, it was just, it's not its intended purpose. You know what I'm saying? Instead of using that, we're going to be running this guy. I'm going to take it in there and clean it up with the wire brush and stuff and get the new nuts on there here in a little bit. But for now, I need to move on to getting rid of some more of this old stuff. So here is my positive battery cable, in which I don't think this was terrible. I've kind of been like going back and forth in my head of just leaving this, because really, I mean, it's amp wire. I guess it's not necessarily the best thing to run, but I never had an issue with it, and it already has, you know, the ring terminals on the end. But at the same time, I'm like, I already bought new wire, I may as well use it. You know what I'm saying? It'd just be a peace of mind knowing that all of it is new. So I need to get this pulled out. It's running up through the frame rail, and it runs inside of here and then comes out right there and loops down to where we have our battery mounted. And then this bundle of wires, there's 3 wires here. This is for the fans and the fuel pump on the front. So this is running through the frame rail as well, and it comes out right here and swoops down, and it goes all the way around. It's all zip tied with this factory stuff, and I have a grommet with the rubber isolator or whatever you call it that's actually bolted right there. But that wiring comes down here and it stubs out right there, where it is still plugged into my fans. And then that positive, that's the positive for the fuel pump, which screws on there. And then there's a separate ground over there for it. So all of that is going to be new. I'm going to go ahead and get all that pulled out as well. All right, so I have some of this yarn. I don't know what else to really call this. Natural fibers. Yeah. Anyhow, twine. There you go. Twine. I got some twine that we are going to attach to the end of these wires before I pull them through, so that it pulls the twine through with it. And then later, whenever I go to put the new wires back through there, I'll be able to do the same thing. I'll be able to attach this twine to the new wires and pull the new wires through. I'm going to use some electrical tape to attach this here. It feels really good to get rid of all this old freaking junk, bro. Whenever it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm such a pack rat. Like, I'll definitely end up putting all that into the wiring bucket in case I need any of it. All right, so before I get into actually running new wiring and stuff, not only am I waiting on Amazon to bring me my spool of 10 gauge. We need to get the main item out of everything that we're gonna be doing right now installed so that I know exactly where it's all going. And I've shown you guys this on another video. Been trying to decide exactly what vehicle to install it in. Khaki, I feel like, is the best car for this. So this is a control modified dedicated controller, whatever. It's a 6-gang. Let's just open it. There it is. 6-gang switch panel system. It's just gonna make our life so much easier. I know that these type of things are not new to the market. A lot of you guys have probably seen this before, but this is new to me. This is gonna be my first setup like this. So it comes with a dedicated fuse box. If I can open this one-handed. There we go. It's not only a fuse box, but it also has all of the relays. So we are able to run 6 different things off of this. Each circuit already has a relay and it has its own corresponding fuse. This is going to be our switch panel, and then they also send you a couple mounting brackets for mounting the switch panel. And then of course there's some hardware and stuff inside of the box. They also give you some extra fuses. This is one of those little tap fuses if you want to grab your ignition power from a existing fuse. And dude, they even send you, look at this, they even send you some zip ties. What's up? What I like about this, you mount this, supply power to it, hook up this ground ignition power, then hook this to your switch panel, and then from there you have 6 outputs. It's that damn easy. So this is most certainly gonna make our process today a lot more easier. I don't have to mount a bunch of relays, inline fuses. I don't have to run individual wires off of relays, going over to a switch and coming back from a switch. None of that stuff. Everything is all right here and it's all contained within this kit right here. And I'm gonna run my fuel pump off of it, my fans off of it. I'm thinking I'm gonna run my push button start through this as well. Hell, I could probably even run my nitrous off of this, you know? Well, at least the engage. And then I'd have to have a separate, I don't know yet if I'm gonna run a full throttle switch or what I'm gonna do, but that's besides the point. Anyhow, I need to figure out where I'm gonna mount this, figure out where I'm going to mount this. I'm kind of contemplating on putting one of these in as well, but not like outside of the vehicle, like putting this in underneath the dash so I can reach it from my driving position, and I could leave it in at all times. But if I ever want to kill all the power to Khaki, I would have this accessible to me from my driver's seat. And of course you can use it as a security thing. I mean, other than the fact that I'm about ready to show all the people who watch my YouTube video where it's at. Alright, so I got all this stuff mounted on my old plate. So the reason why I went ahead and I did that is because, I mean, I've already made this thing. The ECU sat on here, and there ain't no sense in remaking another one. So I just went ahead and altered this one a little bit. I would rather do a plate like that than have to drill holes inside of the firewall for all of those things. So as you can see how many holes we had to drill. There's 2 holes on the distribution block, 2 on the fuse box, and then 4 holes for this disconnect, in which, by the way, I also went with this disconnect because I think I mentioned this earlier. This isn't really for like a security type of thing. It's more for me, like whenever, because Khaki's one of those cars that kind of just sits for a while, you know, especially whenever it's not running, right? I don't want to, I just want to be able to cut the power to everything so that my battery's not dying, you know? And I'd rather have something like this than one of these, because one of the things that drives me nuts about the Blazer is I always cut this thing off, and it's on the back bumper. Every time I go to grab my keys for the Blazer, it's like, I got my keys. Sometimes I make it to the Blazer and I'm like, damn it, I gotta go get that little switch thing. Anyhow, one of these lugs has got to go to this main power source for this fuse box. So I'm gonna be running this up to here. I'm kind of trying to decide whether I should just cut all this excess off, like just kind of cut just enough that I need to reach to that. Finally, my wire came in. It is, it's currently the next day. I waited all night for this damn wire to come in. So this is 2 rolls of 100 feet. It's a 100-foot roll, 10 gauge, 100-foot roll, 10 gauge, red and black. Got this off of Amazon, dude. This was like $32 for this. And at AutoZone, they have these rolls right here. This is a 14 gauge, but their 10 gauge roll was 75 feet and it was like $60. So it was 75 feet and twice the price of this 200 feet. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, dude, I can't do it. I was in AutoZone and I was looking it up on Amazon. And I was like, dude, I can't justify that. I know I need the wire right now, but it is what it is. Anyhow, I waited all night, dude. It didn't come in until late. So here we are the next day, and we can move on. So got the switch panel all finished up last night. Got the cutoff mounted and the fuse box, the distribution block. Everything's mounted. Everything's ran. Came out really nice, dude. Throw it in the comments down below, of course, what you think. But I'm digging it, bro. Anyhow, this comes out, and this is going to go to the battery. So battery power comes in, and then you can shut it off or off and on. Then battery power comes out, and that basically puts the power to the entire distribution block. So this first one right here, which is a little smaller, that is going to run to the alternator. This is to the starter. And this is the main power that feeds this fuse box right here. And then I still have one open. This is going to come down, loop up, and then it's going to go to the factory fuse box. That is right there. You guys are upside down. But yeah, that's all we really need to hook up now is that to the battery, this to the alternator, this to the starter. And up here we have ignition power and then a ground. And as for this, that is complete. So yeah, it's time to start putting all this stuff in the car. All right, I quickly realized that before we put that plate back in here, I still have quite a bit that I need to do inside of here. So for one, I need to get all, I should mention I've already been in here for a little while. trying to organize wiring and stuff. So I'm trying to get all of the stuff that is still in here to be somewhat organized before I go and add that madness up there. I got my speaker wires routed a lot cleaner, got them all tied together, so they're gonna go up here with the factory wiring instead of just hanging down here all crazy. I still need to do that side over there. And the engine harness is super long. This section right here is just kind of a void that's behind that plate. So what I'm going to do is just kind of figure out how much of this engine harness I need sticking out to plug into the ECU. And then I want to kind of coil this up back here. So it's going to come in through the firewall and then just kind of coil up right here. And then I just want enough slack sticking out the side that we can just plug it into the ECU. And the same with my Nomis harness right here. Is this it? Yeah, this is the Nomis harness. So it plugs into the ECU on this side. So I'm going to run that in because it's super long. Also, I'm going to run that in and just kind of coil it up right here. And I just want enough sticking out just to plug into the ECU. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on that plate up there. Just kind of drill some holes right here so I could put a zip tie through it, and it'll hold all this wiring nice and secure. And like I said, I'll just have enough slack sticking out to plug things in, and it's not all crazy and all over the place. I've also got to figure out where I want to mount this thing. So this is the ghost box. This is, if you guys don't know what that is, this hooks to my cell phone. It's basically like a Bluetooth radio, minus the fact that it doesn't have speakers on it. It just, you hook your car speakers to it. So whenever I get in, I can just, whenever the car is on, I can connect my phone, just play my music through it, and I don't have to have like a stereo or anything in here. So I want to mount this in here somewhere, get all the wiring ran to it. For the most part, what I'm wanting to do here with the ghost box and with our switch panel that's going to go to the AUXBEAM. Dude, this always ends up happening whenever I'm doing wiring, man. Just stuff gets all over the damn place. You know, whenever we get to running this, the actual switch panel, I don't want anything on my dash that is like attaching to the dash for whatever reason. I don't know why. I just feel like it would be a lot better if everything in there just has its own spot, you know, without the dash. So I don't have a bunch of stuff that I have to remove, like in order to remove my dash if I ever need to. So my plan is to kind of mount the ghost box in here. So because previously it was attached to my dash, so if I take the dash out, I have to undo the ghost box and all that. Previously my switch panel was up here for my fuel pump and everything, and it was a part of the dash, so I have to undo all that in order to remove the dash, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. So if I can figure out somewhere to mount the ghost box on the firewall, then I don't have to remove that, you know. And with that switch, the wires that AUXBEAM provide are, I'm pretty sure they're going to be long enough. I'm wanting to run from the fuse box when we get it in. I'm going to run it up here, and I'm going to try to see if I can't get those switches like mounted up here, you know, like freaking race car style, bro. I've kind of always wanted the overhead little switch panel. So I figured, why not, man? I may as well do it with this. I think I have enough slack on that wiring harness that they provide that I can do that. With it being like that, I don't have to undo all the switches. You know, I don't have to undo that thing. I don't have to undo my ghost box and all that stuff if I ever need to take the dash out. For whatever reason, dude, it just seems like I'm always having to take the dash out of this damn car. But yeah, I think that'll be nice for future problems, because we all know more than likely gonna have them. So anyhow, I'm not gonna record all this, dude. This is what it looks like right now. It's just an absolute madness. I'm gonna go ahead and get it done and then show you guys whenever it's complete. I normally don't make this kind of mess whenever I'm working on something, dude. For whatever reason, I'm just zoning out and trying to get through this, you know what I'm saying? I most certainly have bear heavy on my mind, heavy in my heart. And it helps. It really helps to keep myself busy. Yeah, I don't know, I still kind of catch myself just kind of zoning out and staring off into space, but I know I've said this quite a few times already, but I appreciate all your guys' support, man. You guys, obviously the family that I do have that's close, it have really helped me through this, you know. I don't know. Maybe this is me now. Maybe I'm just gonna be an absolute disastrous mess whenever I work on shit. Anyhow, dude, what's up? Got this all cleaned up. So fabbed up kind of a little bracket to hold that ghost box, and I've got all of the wiring done for it. So except for the one power wire right here. This wire needs ignition power. I also need to run ignition power on our new fuse box. So anyhow, this is how it came out. Ghost box is all mounted up and solid. All that wiring's all cleaned up. I got all the speaker wires routed nice and clean and up out of the way. And then I got the engine harness running in and all wrapped up nice and clean, along with the Nomis coil on plug kit. And that's coming out over here to plug into the ECU. And I got the ECU plugs over here so it could plug in that way. And this is the dash harness section of the rye wire harness that will plug in right there. So that plug is there. So I wanted to show you guys this before I actually plugged it in, because whenever you plug it in, it kind of just covers this whole thing right here. Blink, just like that. And I think I'm not going to zip tie that at all. Whenever I put the plate on, it's going to kind of hold it back there. Dude, I've learned something over the course of working on cars that I should pass on for those of you who haven't already figured this out on your own. Sometimes it helps to not zip tie and tie things down really tight, because sometimes you end up regretting it or being very mindful of what it is that you are zip tying things to. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of caught myself a couple of times now trying to... let me freaking get in here. Good Lord. So I've caught myself a couple of times. I have some wiring that's running over this direction, and like the speaker wires and stuff. If you see, this is a hydraulic line for my clutch. So this runs over to this thing that I want to get rid of, and then back out of it, and then it goes out to the clutch. So I was going to zip tie my speaker wires to that. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of hold it up. And in the same route that that's going through, because it's routed in a nice area. But if I was to zip tie my speaker wires to the hydraulic line, let's say one day I'm working on it and I need to pull that line out for any reason, and then I'm sitting there trying to fight with it. I've got the dash on, you know, potentially, and I'm like, oh, I can't get it out. And then I realize, oh, there's a bunch of zip ties around it to my speaker wires, you know? Like stuff like that, dude. So I'm trying to be better and more cautious of things like that. So I have my speaker wires, like I do have them zip tied right here so it doesn't separate. And then from there, I just kind of use electrical tape to hold them together so they're clean. But I'm not zip tying my speaker wires to, like, you know, something else like engine harness wiring or stuff like that. So if I ever do need to work on the engine harness, I'm not having to mess with the speaker wires. Or if I'm ever, you know, working on this hydraulic line for the clutch, I'm not having to undo a bunch of zip ties because I have all my wiring zip tied to it. Stuff like that, man. It's just, I don't know, I'm trying to make this as nice as I can. All right, we are finally ready to go ahead and put our plate in with our new fuse box and everything. There it is, dude. That is actually, this looks really good. I'm excited about this. This is my third time doing the wiring down here, and this is absolutely the best that it has ever looked. So now this main cable coming out over here, like I mentioned earlier, this goes to the battery, and that is going to go right out that grommet right there, which is going to get us into our fender well. Push that through there, and there it is. Pull all the slack through. All right, got all my power wire out here. This is gonna need to be ran through the frame rail and pop out over here for the battery. But I'm wanting to run that with my fan and fuel pump wiring. So we're gonna have to do that here in a little bit. So the rye wire harnesses that I had that was running to my starter and to my alternator, it was a lot smaller gauge, but like I said, I guess it's mil-spec wiring. I went ahead and I used those two wires to run from this stud. As you can see, there's two wires. I just crimped them into one ring terminal, and I have those running up, and they loop over, and they come over here to the stock fuse box so that I have power going to both of those terminals. That's where the battery power 12 volt comes in, and then that's also where the alternator came in before. But now we have the alternator coming in over here, but it's all tied together, you know what I'm saying? I figured this more than likely isn't going to be happy if I don't have power going to both. I don't know, but I decided to go ahead and do it that way so that both of those terminals are getting power, and that worked out really well, just using the two wires into a one ring terminal. Bang bang. Now these are the starter and the alternator, so these have to be pushed out of our firewall right there through our grommet, and that's gonna be fun because now it's behind the plate. Alright, I got my output wires ran out here. This is going to be for the fans and the fuel pump. I'm going to run up over there. I could do the fans right now, but I don't even have the fuel pump mounted and stuff. I'm not even gonna worry about this right now. I'm gonna do that later. But dude, this came out freaking dope. I'm actually really stoked about this. So made a little bracket to hold our ghost box, so now that is nice and tight up against the firewall. Don't have to worry about it flopping around, and wiring's all nice and clean and tucked up out of the way. All this stuff like you don't see obviously whenever the dash is on. The only thing that you see really is the ECU. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out, dude. This by far is definitely my best setup, my favorite setup that I have had in here for sure. Now for my battery. Since being I don't have one, we're gonna go ahead and use the jump box temporarily to see if we have power to everything. Ignition's already on, so now it's just our disconnect. Wow, look at that, ECU is on. This thing just connected to my phone even. Hell yeah, jams are still working. You know, I have yet to have even experienced driving this car with it having the speakers and the ghost box in it. We installed that so long ago, and when the car was down, and it has just been down ever since. I know I don't need to tell you guys because the comments have most certainly been letting me know over the course of the last year or whatever. Anyhow, dude, last thing that we got to do for the AUXBEAM setup is go ahead and hook up this switch box. I want to see if this thing like lights up or something. And all we have to do is screw that little connector in to right here, and that's it. So this does have an extension cable that you can put between it so that the cord on this is a lot longer. We don't have to have it plugged directly in like this, but just for testing purposes. Bang, bang. Now kick our power back on. Oh, baby, look at that. Well, is that like turning everything on? I think that's turning everything on. Maybe not. Dude, this thing is sick. Oh, look. It's got a little light sensor. If you hold your finger over it, it dims it automatically. It's auto dimming. Dude, this thing is sick, bro. So you can turn everything on at one time, and you can hit this on off button, shut everything off at the same time, and turn everything on at the same time. That's dope. So let's see, if I turn that off, now everything is on except for that one. Now everything is off. Now everything comes back on except for that one, because I'm probably gonna make one of them obviously my start button, so then I can click everything on and then just go. That's pretty dope, dude. All right, so we have this super long extension that we're gonna be able to basically put that thing anywhere we want inside of the car. Also, for all the buttons, it came with a bunch of like different stickers that you can put on the button. You know, you got fan, horn, windshield, grill, lights, camera, hood. It's got a bunch of different stuff on here, so you can decide what it is you want to put on there. And of course they also have just blank black stickers if you don't have what it is that you need on here. But anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and figure out exactly where I want to route this extension. So like I mentioned earlier, I really like the idea of not having to undo a bunch of stuff in order to remove my dash. Like the gauge cluster and all that stuff is a given. I obviously still have a factory gauge cluster and everything in here. I just like the idea of not having to undo all my like switch panel and stuff like that. Though This one would be a lot simpler than my old one. My old one, I had 6 switches running across, and it had all the wires running to it. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a mess. And I think it's the memory of that that's making me not want to have to undo all that stuff. Anyhow, all that aside, I've also always just kind of wanted that over the head, like push button setup. So I think I'm going to go ahead and mount that up here, and I'm going to have to do it in the center, otherwise it would be in the way of my sunscreens, of course. Sun visors. My sun visors, of course. Even though I don't ever use my sun visors because I have such a big banner on the windshield. Either way, I'm going to see if I can't get the wiring route in a nice clean manner up here and try to get the switch panel mounted right there in the center above the rear view mirror. And what happened to my Broadway mirror, man? I noticed that thing was missing quite some time ago, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere. I would not doubt somebody stole my Broadway mirror while Khaki is sitting out here parked out front. You know, the windows down and everything. Anyhow, I'm gonna figure this out. All right, so I have figured out that if I am capable of getting a wire or something down through this hole up here, all the way down this hollow section, and then to pop out right there, then I'll be able to pull this wire up through there, through this hollow area, and then get it to come out here. I'm gonna try to get it to go through this section and then just bring it over here to the switch panel. But if I can't get it to go through here, which I should be able to once I get it out, then I might have to loop it up and go back in and go over here. But either way, then it'll be completely hidden. Originally, I was just going to run it through here and then come out and then run down this way and just screw some straps in or something. But shoot, if I can get it inside of there, dude, golden, bro. Alright, switch panel is ran. Now, I did end up having to go on the outside right here to loop over. I got it all the way up here, then I tried to use that cable that I was using to try to pass it through here, and then I ended up getting the whole freaking thing stuck, and I fought with it for like 30 minutes to get it back out. So, this is just gonna have to do. At least it's not my original idea of using, you know, tie downs and screws all the way down right here. Came out pretty clean, dude. I'm not complaining. And go ahead and kick the power on. Bow. And that thing lights right up. It's kind of twitching out because I have a bright ass light behind it so we can see inside of here. So it's like going dim and bright, and it's confused by the LED. Anyhow, definitely came out pretty sick, man. I'm excited to see this thing in action, and it's really easy to access from the driver's seat. And I would imagine, because something that I always had an issue with is whenever I had the harness on, you can't lean forward. Like whenever I was all strapped in, like I am like this, trying to stretch to hit the switches whenever they were on the dash, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a lot easier to access them with it mounted right there. But yeah, dude, overall I'm really happy with the direction that this is going. Like I've mentioned a couple of times now, this is my absolute favorite setup that Khaki has had. This is my 3rd time doing all of this, so hopefully it's going to be the last. Through all the troubleshooting and trying to figure this car out, man, this is the only thing that I haven't done is all the wiring. Now, granted, we're still going to have the same engine harness. I've had the ECU gone through by Nomis. I've replaced everything on the fuel system, new fuel pump, cleaned the injectors, swapped the injectors, cleaned out the filter, flushed the entire fuel system. You guys know I've taken the engine out and completely rebuilt the engine. I've done just about everything, bro. Nomis also went through the ECU and tested it and said that, you know, that it's good, gave it a good bill of health, and checked the HON data, everything, dude. So I don't know, man. I'm really hoping this car doesn't kick our ass this time, but pretty much that is all the time that I have for today. We made some pretty damn huge progress, I must say. There's still quite a bit still left that has to be done. I need to install the fuel pump. We got to hook up the AN lines, get the whole fuel system finished up. I need to go and buy a battery so that I'm not using my jump pack, obviously. I got to go get a battery for it. This right here is my wideband wiring. I still haven't done that because it was driving me nuts. And honestly, I know that these wires need to go to the ECU, and I don't remember what wires they are, so I'm going to save that for another day, another project. Gotta get the fans wired up, the fuel pump wired up. I need to run a signal wire to the starter, to our little push button thing in there, so I can push the button and it starts. The only problem is that I don't think that those buttons have the option for it to be momentary, so it's not going to be like a run and just let go. I'm probably going to have to kick it on and kick it off. For now, man. I'll probably change it later, but I really want the start function to be up there on that keypad, so we'll figure it out, man. Anyhow, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. We're making good progress, and we're going to stay on it until this thing is complete, and fingers crossed that Khaki treats us well this time. I do want to ask a question as far as all of the sensors. Map sensor, TPS, oil pressure, coolant temperature, like all of those sensors. If I didn't, aside from going to the dealership, where's the best place to get all of those sensors brand new? Because I would also like to just change out all of the sensors and eliminate that problem as well. I went through a lot of troubleshooting with it long time ago, like switching stuff out and with no difference. But I don't know, for peace of mind, I would like to just throw all new sensors on there, but I just don't want to go and spend $500 on it at freaking Honda, you know what I'm saying? But anyhow, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to get this all wrapped up over the weekend. So hopefully Khaki will be complete come Monday's video. I hope that you guys have an amazing weekend. Once again, thank you guys for all your support through this terrible experience for my family. I most certainly appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who has bought in a bear sticker. And I think now we are at like $3,000 worth of sticker sales, which is going to be huge in helping with affording all of this. It's crazy how expensive stuff is. You know, some places charge $1,000 alone just for transport from the hospital to the funeral home. $1,000, that by itself. It's freaking crazy, bro. And then on top of that, you just have this kind of a feeling of guilt calling around and trying to find the best deal, you know, because I mean, in your mind, money's not an object, but at the same time, they need money up front, like right now, you know, because to me, like if all this was to cost 30 grand, it's like, okay, do it, but I would need the 30 grand right now to pay them right freaking now. If it was something that, you know, it's like basically taking on another mortgage and I was making payments, I wouldn't care about the money. Or if I had the money in the bank, I wouldn't even give a shit. I'd just be like, okay, just take it. I just want to make sure my son's taken care of. But yeah, this stuff has just gotten so crazy expensive over the years. And it's rough, and it's, you know, just unexpected. And I'm extremely grateful that I at least have you guys. So once again, I most certainly appreciate that, man. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. Just an update on that. We are going down to the funeral home tomorrow. We have an appointment at 11:30 to go and pay for costs and everything and get stuff scheduled to move forward. So yeah, anyhow, have an amazing weekend. I love you guys once again. Peace, and I'll see you guys on Monday.